What's up, everyone, and welcome to the AB Fitness Center show, where we help people just like you to look and feel better while achieving long-term results. My name is Anthony Bevilacqua, and I'm super excited today to talk to you about what matters the most when it comes to fat loss. All right, today's episode is going to be really cool. If you're listening to this after the fact, make sure you hit that subscribe button and comment below and let me know what is the most important part of the fat loss journey for you. I'm just curious what people think, and I always try to answer everyone's comments. So just make sure you comment below and let me know. But let's talk about this. So fat loss, people focus on the wrong things all the time. All right, when it comes to actually burning body fat, and here's a good example. This is what 1 pound of body fat actually looks like, right? So this is actual fat. So when we're trying to lose body fat, this is what we're looking to lose. Not just weight on the scale. Most people focus on the weight on the scale, and that's not really as important. We're really focusing on this, right? So what should you be focusing on? Well, let me tell you something. Your results obviously are made up. It takes 100% of everything that we're going to talk about today to get results, but people focus on only 10% of the equation. So what is that 10%? What do people focus on? Well, they focus on meal timing, when they should be eating food. They focus on low carb. Should I eat low carb? Should I eat high carb? Should I do keto? Doing a ton of cardio and, looking on Instagram, swiping, Googling for the next best supplement. This is what people focus most of their time on, looking for that next quick fix to help them get there. But if your goal is to achieve long-term permanent fat loss, like I'm saying, like you're losing this and it ain't coming back. It ain't coming back. That's what we want. We want to lose this and we don't want it to come back. So what should we be focusing on to actually get rid of this stuff, right? And here's the thing. People always look for those little nuances. I have people all the time ask me, should I have protein after my workout? Well, let's see. Are you tracking your calories? No. Are you doing all the other things you should be doing? No. Well, then that's only going to make up a little bit of the equation. So let's talk about the 3 things that you need to be doing and the essential things that 90% of what you should be focusing on is going to actually give you results. So, number 1, when you're trying to lose pure body fat, your goal should be to always be in a calorie deficit. So what does a calorie deficit actually mean? So a calorie deficit actually means that you are eating less calories than your body's burning. So most people don't even know how to figure this out, but one of the main things that I could tell you, 95% of the population doesn't do this, but keeping track of what you're eating every day goes far, will give you way better results than anything you're doing, because now you're accountable for what you're eating, right? You're accountable for what you're eating, and you actually have a general idea. Numbers don't lie. They do not lie. So when you're thinking, I'm only having 800 calories a day, and then you put everything in MyFitnessPal and it's, 2,000, well, then you're in for a problem. Then you know what's going on. So you have to make sure that you're in a calorie deficit. You have to make sure that you're eating less calories than your body's burning, okay? And simple, if you're eating more calories, your body's gonna put on weight. And again, if you're doing everything else correctly, it'll be a mix of fat and muscle that you actually put on. But typically when we overeat, you end up putting a lot of this on. The second thing that you need to be focusing on, and 90% of your results are gonna come from these 3 things: consistency. You need to be as consistent as possible when it comes to trying to lose body fat and just getting in better shape overall. If you want to look and feel better, you have to make sure that you're focusing on being consistent, because consistency is the thing that's going to take you to the next level more so than anything else. A lot of people think that, I'm going to do this diet for 12 weeks. I want to get in shape for a wedding, whatever it is, a party, whatever, this, that. So they diet for X amount of weeks in order to get to there. And the occasion comes, or whatever it is, they lose a little bit of body fat during that time because they're working hard. And then they just say, okay, I'm done. Time's up. And that's it. That happens to a lot of bodybuilders too. Bodybuilders, they go in competition. They diet down to, lean levels of body fat in the single digits for men. And, like low 10, 9, 10, 11, 12 for women. And they get really, really lean. they get to their show, they do their show, either they do well or whatever else, and then they stop and they just go right back into everything. Just eat like they did before the contest. That happened to me in my first contest, happens to a lot of people when they get to their goals. So when you just revert back to where you were, you're obviously going to put on a ton of body fat. So you have to be consistent as possible when it comes to actually getting there. So again, just finding a system of eating that you can vibe with, that you like, that you can do every day, and makes it easy. This is why I and my team always practice and preach flexible dieting, because flexible dieting has allowed me to basically been dieting and getting into good shape for about, when did I start doing that? Probably about 10 years now. I've been in this industry for 15 years. So, and starting probably more than that. I was like 14 years old. So a little bit more than 15 years, but actually doing things correctly, probably like 10 or 12 years. So I've been dieting for 10, whatever dieting, I've been keeping track and being consistent for 10 to 12 years. So naturally that has allowed me to get to where I want to be as fast as humanly possible, being that consistent. And the thing is, not many people want to be that consistent, but that consistency is the thing that's going to take you to the next level. And the next thing, the third thing you need to be focusing on is actually lifting real weights. Now, I don't want to go crazy on this episode, but I watched something the other day, another workout thing, and I want to say what it is. And it literally, what they had the people doing was they had the people, they were standing up, they were doing squats like this, they were jumping, they were going down on the floor, doing like these weird type crunches. And it was just like, the guy was on there, the instructor was on there, trainer, whatever you want to call it. Actually, he's more of an instructor because it's not training what he was doing, but he was just up there almost like an MC saying, hey, let's burn the booty, let's do this, let's do that. That's not training. That's not what training is. Training is giving someone a routine to follow. They're doing the routine. You're making sure that they're executing the exercises properly. And when someone's actually lifting real weights, you need to actually be there physically training them and not like a cheerleader, cheering them on. I mean, you have to do that too, but it's a big difference. But you actually want to be working out with weights. Free weights and things like that are the things that are actually going to change your body. So let me grab my prop. So this is what 1 pound of muscle looks like. And the more muscle you have, the better your physique is going to look. On the contrary, most people, especially women, think that as soon as they touch weights that their body's just going to explode and they're going to look like a man. And that couldn't be further from the truth. Women actually put on muscle at a slower rate than men. So this is why it's even more important for women to be working out with weights as opposed to men when it comes to changing the way they look. But in order to put muscle on, you have to actually be lifting weights with progression. So what that means is if we're in the gym today and we're doing something like squats, well, like in that video, they were doing squats. I mean, that's fine and dandy. You're going to feel that. But you have to have some form of progression on there to tell your body to put this on. Because if there's no form of progression, your body's not going to put this tissue on. Muscle is really, really expensive tissue for your body to maintain. And your body just doesn't want to put this tissue on for no reason. So there has to be a demand for your body to do that. So this is why there's something called progressive overload. There's something blown in there. Something called progressive overload where, like I said, today you're squatting and we're doing 50 pounds today. Let's say you do it for 10 reps. The next time you do it, you got to do a little bit more than you did last time in order to tell your body to put this on. All right, so those are the three things you really need to be focusing on. 90% of what you should be focusing on when it comes time to getting in good shape has to be eating less calories than you're burning, being consistent with whatever approach that is. And again, like I said, we practice flexible dieting because that allows you to diet longer, that allows you to eat like a normal person, and lifting real weights. Doing a cardio-based workout is not going to be the thing that's going to take you to the next level because you're not going to put on any muscle doing that. So that's out the window. But you want to make sure you're focusing on those three things. 90%, put the blinders on, 90% of everything have to be on those three things. Because if you're focusing on the 10% that I talked about earlier, should I eat protein after my workout? Should I be doing more cardio? Should I take this fat burner? Should I do keto? You could do keto and gain weight. And you could gain weight because you have no idea how many calories you're tracking. So you have to download something like MyFitnessPal and keep track of everything you eat. This way you're understanding how many calories you're in, making sure that you're in a calorie deficit, because that's the goal. The goal is to change the way your body looks, not just to lose weight, because anybody could lose weight. I could stop eating for 3 days and I'll lose a ton of weight, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it was good weight. It probably means I would have lost muscle, which means I would look worse. This is why sometimes when you see some people who diet and do lose weight, they actually just look like a smaller version of themselves. But when you actually lose body fat, you lose that layer between the muscle and the skin. So hopefully this works here. So let's just say that my desk right in front of you is your bones, okay? Then you have your layer of muscle tissue. Hopefully that works. Okay, so there's your layer of muscle tissue. Then you have your layer of body fat, and then you have your skin. So when we lose, where's my head? There it is. So when we lose body fat, we actually lose this fat between the muscle and the skin. So when you diet correctly, when you focus on the 90% that I told you about, calorie deficit, being consistent, and working out with real weights, now this layer gets thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner until you're left with just the muscle and the skin. And this is what actually makes those changes that are behind me. I don't know if you can really see that, but this is how you can actually see people's actual different results, because now they're actually losing pure body fat and they're getting actually leaner, healthier, stronger, the whole bit. So that's the idea. That's what we're looking for. We're not looking for quick fixes. So that if you're on this fat loss journey and you're trying to be the best version of yourself possible, you're trying to get as strong as possible, you have to focus on those three things. Put the blinders on, focus on just putting everything in MyFitnessPal, be consistent with it, with everything that you're doing, and make sure you're lifting weights. All right, guys, thank you for listening to this. Again, comment, let me know what matters the most to you when it comes to fat loss, and make sure you subscribe to the channel so you never miss a beat. I'll talk to you guys on the next one.